Hello there guys and welcome back to the channel. So we are about to get a new meta, and this is going to be by far and away the most RNG reliant meta we have ever had, and that will lead to some very interesting interactions. That also kind of means you don't really know what's going to happen in any given fight. So let's break down the nodes. There is no attacker buff, which is something that I generally do prefer, and then we have Rich Get Richer, Power 2. So whichever champion has more unique buffs gains 9% of a bar power every second. So that is going to be a fairly noticeable power gain. And obviously that means a lot of level 3s will probably be eaten, even though we do have Special 1 and Special 2 bias. But some champions with being able to gain extra power are going to be a lot more dangerous as well. That said, the real crazy part comes at the start of the fight and at end of each champion's special attacks. One of these following indefinite effects is randomly applied to each champion: Fatigue, Arm Break, Weakness, Disorient, Bleed, Shock, Tranquilize, Crush, Precision, Armor Up, Fury, Prowess, Regeneration, Cruelty, Resistance Up, and Unblockable. Now, some of these will matter much more than others, and this is going to create for an insane randomness in terms of champion interactions. The worst thing about all of this is we do not know any more details. Now, from the node, we can read that it states effects, which could make this even significantly worse. Because if these are effects, it means they're not going to be buffs and debuffs. It means skilled champions, like skill attackers, will not be able to shrug these things off if they are effects. And that means that, you're not going to be able to nullify effects, because effects don't basically interact with most of the champion abilities. They're passives. And otherwise, I would maybe kind of like this meta to a degree, because then, you give clear extra boost to champions with buff prevention and nullification. You get extra power and security from champions with shrug-offs. And if these are effects, then all that goes away. Additionally, we will need to keep an eye out for very unique interactions. Obviously, randomly opponent going unblockable for the entire fight, that's not going to be nice. I wonder how many matches will be lost because opponent gets unblockable at the beginning of the fight, and that's it. You try to parry and you just get wrecked. Obviously, we do need to know the potency of these effects as well, which is not listed here on the node. We have Regeneration, which again, depending on how strong it is, can significantly alter the fight. Same as Cruelty, Prowess, Fury, Precision as well. Crush, when you cannot block, and you get Crush debuff. Your opponent's basically unblockable. Tranquilize will completely and automatically screw over Science class attackers, for instance. But most notably, we have Bleed and Shock. And because of those things as well, we're definitely going to have some crazy stuff happening. Again, if these are effects, fine. Void will not interact and will not give you extra damage. If these are debuffs, however, Void could potentially be supercharged in this meta. So that is something to keep in mind. Luke Cage. Void and Luke Cage are listed here in Science class as well for a couple of reasons, and one of them is because you can start reversing Rich Get Richer power gain with them, or completely shutting it off, and it means it's going to be much safer to use him. There will obviously be other Science champions as well who have the ability to basically mitigate the opponent's power gain or completely reverse it, like Quicksilver, for instance, could potentially be a tremendously powerful champion with his Withers when awakened. Spider-Ham could be very, very, very good in this meta as well if opponent gets, more special attacks, power things trigger more frequently. Potentially Cassie Lang as well. And then we're obviously going to have the more niche options. And what's annoying about this meta is, depending how potent all of this stuff is, and whether they're buffs and debuffs, it will completely change whether, for instance, Sandman can be a viable option in this meta with his power gain and heal reversal, or he's just going to be too slow yet again, or Mr. Fantastic might get a glow up. But it all depends on whether they're debuffs or not, and how potent all of that stuff is. Similarly with Kingpin and Baron Zemo, it all depends, and Crossbones, whether they're debuffs or not. That said, Elsa can wreck you as well. But the thing with Elsa is I don't think we're going to see her as defender coming in. If you're running Elsa as is anyways, and then sometimes try to catch opponent, I think that's fair enough. But I don't think it's going to be justified to try and drop Elsa on defense and hope that she gets bleed. Bishop, again, is going to be a champion that can completely destroy you if he gets shock placed on you. But since he's already kind of like a used defender, I think we're going to definitely see him a lot more often, and there will be just some random matches where you basically auto-lose just because Bishop got shocked at the beginning of the fight, and you're dead. Similarly with Onslaught, because when Onslaught has energy debuff applied to him, he just randomly starts placing Neuroshocks on opponent. So when it's Shock, Incinerate, Plasma, Cold Snap, inflict a Neuroshock every second on the opponent. If you're going up against Onslaught, he starts with a Shock, you just kind of die. Similar to Havoc, place a Shock on him, and if you don't have an armor up, you'll just die. Right, so definitely a lot of craziness is going to happen either way, regardless of whether they're debuffed or whether they're not, and pretty much regardless of the potency as well. Because obviously unblockables and crush are going to significantly alter the fight. These interactions that I just discussed, again, the shock could deal 0 damage, but you're still going to die because of the champion abilities if they get applied to the defenders. And obviously, if they are potent and you get shock applied to you, you will just die as well. But few champions that I do expect to do better than regular as well, obviously, would be some of the tech class champions that do start the fight with already the armor up, because you will not always have a great counter for them. And if, for instance, Red Skull gets more special attacks to throw, you have to constantly deal with unstoppable or auto block, so that could be an issue. And he's going to be potent on offense as well, because he does have an innate buff. He also goes unstoppable after his level 2, so you can get the second buff, and he has plenty of power control in his kit. I think Warlock is going to be great for this. And then obviously a ton of Cosmic Champions. I think a ton of Cosmic Champions, because of Rich Get Richer, we are going to see a lot of those, because they're always going to be winning the buff battle, or almost always. So we're going to have Hulklings, we're going to have CGRs, we're going to have Gallants. We're definitely going to see the rank 3 Venoms, and Serpent is going to be more dangerous as defender as well than he has ever been because of his increased power gain. I do think we might kind of see White Tiger shine a bit in this meta as well, because she can kind of prevent opponents from throwing a lot of special attacks. She does have Fury buffs in her kit herself, and she kind of does better when opponent gains more power. So it'll be interesting to see how White Tiger does. I am absolutely certain that America Chavez is going to destroy in this meta, because she pretty much never has any buffs on herself, but she can completely invert the opponent's power gain. So I think Chavez is going to be scary good. And obviously Jags as well, but definitely Chavez. When we are looking at the upcoming metas, aside from the randomness, just looking now at Rich Get Richer node, obviously it's clear that there will be a lot of Cosmic Champions that are popular, that will be hard to deal with. Champions like, Gore, for instance, can potentially be a huge pain in the bum with that increased power gain, as well as a handful of others here. Maestro potentially could be more annoying, or Serpent definitely will, as I mentioned, and just Cosmic Defenders in general. That pretty much always means that Mystics will also play a significant role, but in this case, I do believe we will want to see not only nullification, but also some sort of power control mitigation. It would be funny if Dr. Doom makes a return. I'm not entirely sure if he would or will, but this is the type of meta that he could work well in. As I mentioned, America Chavez. Who else we have here with somewhat half decent power control? Hood could be that guy again. And as I mentioned, the White Tiger. So lots and lots of things still to test out for this upcoming 2-week period in Battlegrounds. And I am 100% sure that it's going to make pretty much all of you feel one way or another. I think there will be some people who like it, and I think there's going to be a whole lot of people who don't. Either way, as soon as the meta goes live, I will start my live stream as well, and we're gonna test it out live, so do not miss that, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye. Hello there guys, and welcome back to the channel. So we have all the information about the next